Hey everyone, it's Adam here, aka Synagogue. Welcome to the Movie Vault. Looks like we're starting a whole new franchise again. I know I've reviewed this movie before in the past, twice I believe, but some people wanted to see like a refresher of these movies done again. Like I say, it's going to be the third and final time. There's not much point reviewing the same movie over and over again, but people want to see my opinion now about the Child's Play movies. You know, what I think of them to this very day. Can I still watch them? Do I still get some enjoyment out of them? Has anything changed since then? Well, other Child's Play movies, I mean, the first three are brilliant. I love the first three Child's Play movies. Child's Play 1, um, Child's Play 2 was a solid sequel. 3, in my opinion, I can defend that movie. I think it's pretty underrated. A lot of people bash that movie, but I, for one, really like that movie. Okay, then you get Bride, which my interest in that has declined over the years. And then you get that horrendous one, Seed of Chucky. But since then you get Curse of Chucky, you know, Cult of Chucky, and those other ones. I own every single one of them. I've not seen the remake yet, and even if I do, I know I'm not going to love that movie as much as the one that came out of the year of 1988, the original Child's Play film. Okay, but I do love it up to the point where I get them on Blu-ray. You see, this is a Blu-ray edition of the first Child's Play movie. And right off the bat, you can see it's a nice little front cover. I wasn't too keen on the front cover of my DVD one that I had. It was like a plain picture of Chucky, not even looking directly, you know, into your eyes. He was like looking down on the ground. I thought it was a pretty careless cover. But this is like a classic cover, you know, Chucky holding the knife, and they've had a little bit of artwork around it to make it stand out, you know. And I think they did a fine job. I prefer it over the other cover. Like I said, the first Child's Play movie, which came in the year of 1988, its exact release date was November 9th of 1988. Budget $9 million and made $44.2 million at the box office. So that's pretty something. Now, what can I say about the first Child's Play movie? It's great. And came out in the best years as well, in my opinion. The years where horror movies were the best, basically. You know, in the 80s, you know, you got your Friday the 13th, you got your Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, but you've also got your Child's Plays, you know, and the first one, which came out in 1998, I think it's a brilliant film. I mean, I agree with what it says on the cover. The original, the scariest, the best. You know, most of these people put a lot of shit on the front covers, but I actually agree with this one. The first Child's Play movie. We've got Catherine Hicks stars in this, and Chris Sarandon in this as well, and we've got Alex Vincent. I've met Alex Vincent in real life. Please type in Alex Vincent in the search engine on my channel, and it should come up with me actually meeting him, getting his autograph and all that. And I even asked him, Alex, what was your favourite Child's Play movie that you starred in? And he said the first, without a doubt, the first movie. But he did go on to say that he liked the Cult of Chucky as well, which I had to disagree with him on that one, because I think Cult of Chucky is one of the worst ones. That's another review for another day. But the first movie, I agree when he says that you can't beat the originals. I mean, the film opens up with Brad Dourif playing this guy by the name of Charles Lee Ray. He's running from a cop. Charles Lee Ray is a murderer, and is also known as a Lakeshore Strangler. Anyway, while running away from the cop shoots him. And Charles Lee Ray breaks into a toy store, and he's dying from the gunshot wound. Just before he dies from the gunshot wound, he uses voodoo to pass his soul into a good guy doll. And then the shop explodes. The cop finds his body and he's dead, but unaware of his soul being transferred into the good guy doll, which gets collected by a peddler or a tramp later on in the film. And right off the bat, you got some good effects with the explosion of the shop. Really well made for a 1980s movie. Of course, these days it's all easy to make now, but back then things were much more harder with, you know, effects. But right off the bat, we do see some good exploding effects and stuff like that. And the film skips forward to introducing this kid by the name of Andy Barclay, who's played by Alex Vincent. And you can tell he's a fan of these good guy dolls, because he's watching all the TV shows of the good guy dolls. He's wearing good guy clothes. He's got good guy cereal, good guy toys. Basically, he's a big fan of the good guy, and he's watching a commercial where they say that they're going to bring out, good guy talking dolls. And with his birthday approaching, he generally believes that his mum is going to get him some. He comes to some disappointment where the box just turns out to be clothes, and things like that. He does get some good guy toys, but he says he wants a good guy doll to go with it. Now, straight off the bat, I think Alex Winson did a great job playing Andy Barclay in this movie. Because don't forget, we're talking about a 7-year-old kid here. We're not talking about a teenager or anyone else. We're talking about a 7-year-old kid. And what was so unique about Andy Barclay was that he wasn't like an annoying, bratty kid. He turned out to be like a really sweet kid. There's a sweet scene like where he's making his mum breakfast in bed and even like makes a whole fucking mess of the whole breakfast, like burnt toast and too much milk on the cereal and shit like that. But you could tell him and his mum have good chemistry. We learn that she's a widowed mother, and obviously they bond really well. She loves her son, although she doesn't make much money. She does everything in her power to try and be a good mum to Andy and bring him up. And it introduces another character, her best friend called Maggie, who is called Aunt Maggie to Andy. She tells her that there's a peddler in the alleyway selling a good guy doll. It's the same good guy doll that Charles Lee Ray passed his soul into. She pays the peddler some money to get the good guy doll. And then she takes the doll home, gives it to Andy as a late birthday present. Of course, he's over the moon when he opens up the package. And the voice box says that his name's Chucky. Of course, Andy Barclay shows his appreciation by hugging his mother and all that, really loving the gift. So that's one thing I really liked about the Andy Barclay kid. He was a sweet kid, wasn't annoying, wasn't bratty, didn't piss you off. Just an overall loving boy. So props to Alex Winson for that. Catherine Hicks, on the other hand, was also a great actress. She played the role of Andy's mum really well. I can't say there wasn't any characters in this movie that I didn't really dislike. I thought every character was good in their own way. The first murder takes place in the household because the mother has to work late at this place where she works. Maggie is looking after Andy Barclay, and when she tucks him into bed, she gets killed because Chucky comes alive and hits her in the head with a hard object, and she ends up falling from the window from the apartment and goes crashing into a car below. Of course, when Andy's mother arrives at the scene, there's the police there. They learn that she fell from the window. They see like these little footprints on the counter in like this powder, the flour, everything. They're the exact same model as the good guy sneakers that Andy's wearing. So straight away they're pointing all the fingers at Andy Barclay did these murders. So, and you couldn't help but feel sorry for Andy Barclay throughout this movie because throughout all the blame that was getting put on him, all the murders that took place, all the chaos, they all get the fingers pointed at Andy Barclay saying that he did it. They found evidence or they had some sort of lead for Andy Barclay to doing all these horrific crimes. There's even a point in the film where he goes into an institution, and you can't help but feel bad for the Andy Barclay kid, especially when he wasn't annoying and he was sweet. You kind of think, I feel bad for this kid, going through all this shit, and he's a 7-year-old boy as well. Andy was like, keeps on telling him on that Chucky's telling him all these stories, whispering in his ear, saying that he was a gift from God sent down to heaven to protect him. And he also comes out with bad things, saying things like that Maggie was a bitch who got what she deserved. And he also says that his real name is Charles Lee Ray. Nobody believes a word that Andy Barclay is saying, and who would? Who would believe that? A kid is saying that a doll's telling him all these things. But what we learn throughout the whole movie is that Charles Lee Ray has to transfer his soul into a human body. Because if he stays in the doll too long, he gets trapped in there for good. And so basically what he's trying to do is he's trying to transfer his soul into Andy Barclay's body. Because he learns from the guy that taught him voodoo throughout the film, saying that he needs to transfer his soul into a human that he told his secret to. And he finds that out later on in the film, so he's on one big mission then to put his soul inside Andy's body. I mean, we see scenes where houses get blown up. You know, there's even a car scene where Chucky's attacking the copper, and the copper like sticks a cigarette lighter in Chucky's face. You know, there's a scene where Andy Bocky's mother is alone with Chucky, threatening to throw him on the fire, and he becomes really paranoid, and he ends up coming to life and attacking Andy's mum. You know, this is some pretty chilling scenes. I mean, people said this film did terrify them a lot when I was younger, and I can understand where they're coming from. I know we've seen more darker things since then, but you know, since I was like born in 1987, I was only 1 year old when this came out. I don't remember being afraid of Chucky or anything like that, but I do remember some scenes that stood in my brain. You know, I mean, like the scene where he's like trying to kill Andy or kill the mother or kill the cop, and a doll's doing all this. And don't forget, kids looked up to toys when I was younger. You know, they're a big part of everybody's life, toys and homemade dolls and things like that. And when you see one that's killing people, it does get your brain going. So there you have it. So the mother and the cop are on one big mission throughout the whole movie to try and kill Chucky before he succeeds in transferring his soul into Andy's body, basically. Of course, the cop knows it's Charles Lee Ray because there's a scene where Andy's mother goes after the peddler to find out where he got the doll from, and then he attempts to rape her. And he tells him that he got it from the burned down toy store, and that was the exact same location where Charles Lee Ray died, where he shot him. So bits and pieces all go together. And what was so unique about the first Child's Play movie, it was straightforward. It wasn't like a complicated storyline. Like I say, it wasn't a complicated storyline. Every character was likeable. The storytelling in this was really unique. It's the sort of story that would come out in the 1980s about dolls coming to life and killing and all that. You'd get away with it in a 1980s movie, and for a child to get blamed for all these murders and all these crimes, you know, you won't be able to get away with it today, but back then it was pretty tight too. So I understand completely where that was coming from in terms of, you know, this movie is one movie that definitely stands out. Yeah. Like I said, this is on Blu-ray. I wanted to get all of them on Blu-ray. You know, not just for the quality purposes, but special features as well. I mean, this film does have special features. Audio commentary of Alex Vincent, Catherine Higgs, and the designer of the Chucky doll, Kevin Younger. Audio commentary with the producer, and the making of the Child's Play films as photo galleries, a convention feature, trailers, you know, so special features for this. It's actually pretty fair. I don't remember the DVD having that much. I mean, depending on what you get, if you get a special edition or something like that, but I never had the special edition DVD. I just had the standard DVD. One of the first ones I got, the other one with the lazy cover. But I'm really glad I have the first one on Blu-ray along with all the others. But at the same time, you know, it is nice to see these sort of films on VHS as well, you know, because of the quality and the graininess. It adds more of a better feeling to the 80s, you know, in that sort of way. I mean, reception-wise for this film, it was pretty high from what I did my research on. Robert Ebert gave the film 3 out of 4 stars, called it a very cheerful, energetic horror film. The average rating was 6.4 out of 10, which isn't too bad. The fans loved it. It was an overwhelming surprise for them. I thought Brad Dourif did a great job in his role, but you know, he mainly did the role of you know, the voiceover of Chucky. I thought he was a perfect choice, because Brad Dourif has that unique laugh and that chilling, you know, dark, deep voice when Chucky speaks. I mean, they do succeed in saving Andy Barclay's life in this. You know, there's a scene where Chucky gets burnt, shot. He has everything in the book done to him, and just before the lights go out, he dies right in the apartment. If you're the type of horror fanatic that likes some sort of movies like about dolls coming to life and shit like that, then I think Child's Play would be a perfect choice for you. I mean, it's not for everybody, Child's Play. In my opinion, you have to be like a die-hard horror fanatic to like these sort of movies. Of course, if you're a horror fanatic like me, you're not going to find it hard to like this movie, especially the first Child's Play movie. I don't know any horror fanatic who says I don't like the Child's Play first movie, the original, the one that started it all off, because they may have some mixed reviews or some general opinions about the hatred towards the more later films. But I've not met not one fan yet who says I did not like the original one that came in the year of 1988. So there you have it. There's no reason for me not to give this movie 5 stars out of 5. The originals are always the best, but then again, the sequels did impress me. It's rare that sequels make better jobs than the originals. There's some movies out there, Aliens was better than the first Alien movie. Terminator 2 was better than the first Terminator movie. But I find it hard to argue if people say that Child's Play 2 or 3 was better than the first movie. So, because they did go. It was good while they lasted as being good. Put it that way. Please like, rate, and comment this, everybody. That's my review for the first Child's Play movie. Please check it out if you're a horror fanatic. You won't be disappointed. I think everyone's seen the movie by now. But for the younger generation, they're more than likely going to watch the remake first, which recently came out. I have not seen it yet. And hopefully when I do, I'll give my thoughts on it when I review that movie. So please like, rate, and comment this, everyone. Email if you've got any questions. Thanks, everyone. Peace out.